Space Marine 2's Operations mode has 6 different missions with 4 difficulties open to you. Leveling up your main class or even alternative classes is going to be a bit of a grind depending on how much time you have available to play. In this video, I want to give you my speedrunning guide to the Inferno mission to help you level up faster. Now, this is the mission I've been running deep into the early access given to me prior to launch, and it's the fastest way to get experience. You can run Decapitation, but the first big event is extremely punishing on Ruthless, and the boss can wipe an uncoordinated team. Another caveat here is you'll want to make sure you get the Geneseed on the map to maximize experience. On Minimal, that's an extra 185 experience, but on Ruthless, that's an additional 650 to 675, somewhere around there, bringing the total up to around 25 experience for one run. It's a great way to level weapons and classes. Now, if this is your first time on my channel, the way I do things is by uploading the knowledge in my videos, and since I'll be detailing all of the spawn locations, I wish I could just simply give you a map, but you can jump to the chapters in the timeline and the description. Each chapter will start just short of each spawn location to give you context on where it's at, but navigate to those if you're purely looking for spawns. As far as rushing the map goes, you can run past everything in the opening portions of the mission up until retrieving the codes, that event. Do not go through the caves, stick on the left side of the map as there's 4 potential code locations. That's the fastest route and you'll typically get it from there without having to go further. After that, just run into the next area, skipping everything. The generator event is unskippable, but just defend through it, and as soon as you can progress, get the hell out of there. After that, it's a matter of running past everything all the way to the end of the mission. The key to ensuring success on Ruthless is making sure you use those gas traps on the left and right sides. Trigger them, wait until you see the Tyranid warriors running towards the landing pads, then ignite the traps to ensure the maximum amount of wave clear. That's the entire gist of this video. Please though, try not to use this method if you're playing for the first time. I really encourage you to enjoy the experience. Try different missions, slog through the difficulties, really embrace the challenge of Space Marines 2. Try and use this method when you're leveling up guns or moving to another class. I always encourage people to enjoy their game over min-maxing them into the ground. Play your way and just enjoy it. So if that's all you wanted to know, please feel free to shut the video down and get back to having fun. If this video ends up helping you, please don't forget to like, comment, or subscribe, as each one of those things does help me out in a huge way. And if you've not yet picked up Space Marine 2, you can use my Fanatical link, which has a 12% discount, and I make an 8% commission, but please always choose what is best for your wallet. And don't forget to check out my Twitch link below, where I'm streaming multiplayer all week, all sorts of fun stuff. Let's get started here on my speedrunning guide to the Inferno mission. Alright, so jumping into the game here, let's do this speed run. Now, I don't initially do this as a speed run because I'm not smart. Eventually it becomes a speed run, and we're just going to pretty much push through this opening area. I don't do that very well because I kind of get lost in the sauce playing sometimes. This is just on minimal difficulty. I wanted to be able to show every single spawn without stressing it and without kind of messing stuff up, and I still mess stuff up. But we're just gonna be having fun here for the next 20 minutes of this video here. So basically, too, this is on minimal, and we're gonna be running it just over 20 minutes. Again, because I'm doing stuff like this, just run through this portion. There's no reason to hang out and kill things. It's just fun to do it here and there. So this is gonna be just shy of 20 minutes. On Ruthless, you're looking at about 25 if you have a pretty good team together. That's going to be the big portion of it. But we're coming up here on our first spawn, our Relic Spawn. So as we come down that initial causeway after turning, you're going to keep going into this little alcove on the right behind that bunker. So you see this on the right where Duke is showing you, right behind this little crate. That's your first Relic Spawn. This can purely be a relic. Some spawns will have either a relic or a Geneseed. Coming up here now on our first Dataslate. This is just for lore purposes, so those of us that are completionists, you're going to go into this bombed out bunker over here. You'll turn right, pick up the armor boost, and then not actually pick it up because you didn't hold it on the button long enough. And you'll see the first Dataslate right here on this ammo crate. And then after that, it's going to bring us up to our first Geneseed spawn. Again, just coming right out of the bunker here, we're going to go over this little, or under this little overpass with the pipes and everything. You'll see 2 sets of bunkers. That one with the door right there, where you can fork left or right. Here, you should almost always fork to the left. You don't want to deal with shooters above you shooting down. It's just going to make it harder for you, even though this is a speed run. So you see this little like speaker looking thing here with a klaxon on it. Right there, that on that little ammo crate is our first pure Geneseed spawn. Remember with the Geneseed, if you die while holding it, if you're just simply downed, then you lose it. So you want to make sure you're giving this to the person that has the highest level, the highest competency, whatever it is, the person that's just not going to get down. Because if you get down, you lose it, and that's a lot of potential experience. It's almost, well, not half, like it's about almost like 30-40% of the level's experience. So like I said, you don't really want to jump down here. I got a little lost in the sauce here, just kind of cutting up Tyranids. Just move through this. Don't hang out, don't shoot stuff. Just kind of push through. And you can hug the left wall over there to really mitigate as much as you can. You're going to come up with a pack probably behind you in this area, right where I'm going. But I just jumped down for whatever reason, because I forgot this was a speed run. But as you come over to this area, hug this right wall as best you can. It'll prevent the pack in the middle of that little swampy place from pulling, and that's really cool. You'll go to this overpass, and you'll drop down. And again, we're going to hug the right side. The right side is going to bring us up to our next pure relic spawn. It's going to be over here, just around the bend. On the river bend, you'll see it right here on this rock. I got pretty lucky that most of the relics were spawned on the map. Sometimes they won't be there, so if it's not there in your playthrough, don't worry about it. Now, the nice thing about relics and Geneseeds here is if you are holding a Geneseed and you're coming up to a pure event, what does that mean? An event where you can't bypass it? Well, you can go ahead and swap your Geneseed with a relic, and this gives you the ability to, well, get back up with a relic, but most importantly, if you get down, you won't lose the Geneseed. And I'll talk about this again once we come to the generator room. So we come over here, big, huge Mechanicus symbol over there, just shoulder bump, a bunch of boxes. So in this area, you can go through the caves on the right, or you can go on the left and go up a little ramp towards some camps. Just go on the left, because the first corpse is right where I'm going to come across. Then there's another one on the left. There's 2 more. I think there's actually 3 total in the camp. That's 5 total corpses. If you do that, you should get the weapon data very quickly. Or not the weapon data, the codes. So we wait for them to finish their little spiel. We do our first body. Nothing. We come up to our second. Going through the caves is just, there's too much shooting. There's too many Tyranids to deal with. Second body. In those cases, something like, these are the codes. Something like that. I think it's on this third body that I get it. Coming around here, and it's also where our first Armoury Data is. Okay, so Duke actually found it on one of the corpses ahead of us, against probably one of the posts. But right there where he's marked, I'll come over here and mark it. The weapon data will be just floating right here in this corner. You'll see it, you'll snag it, and you'll move on if it spawns. Remember, weapon data will spawn, or Armoury Data will spawn in one place on the map, but there's only set locations. So that's why I'm showing you all these locations. Right now you can see there's no Armoury Data there. It's possibly in one of the other locations. Hint, it is, because we got it. Now you see that these shrooms we're running over? You want to basically get the codes and run to this as fast as possible. And as long as your team catches up to you, those shrooms will blossom behind you and cut off any enemies. So that's an important part of this speedrun on a Ruthless difficulty, is getting through that portion as fast as you can, because it can be very punishing. So we're going to come up here after this to our next relic spawn. It's over here on the right, next to this fracking situation we got going on. So you'll see right here is where it could possibly be. And that's a pure relic spawn. At least I'm pretty sure it is. Sometimes these spawns, you don't know if it's going to be pure relic or pure Geneseed. Sometimes a Geneseed spawns there. And I've not run this a million times to know that it's 100% of the time pure, but it's by and large, like I'm 90% certain that is a pure relic spawn. So we're going to come over to our next spawn. I'm going to run right past it right there. And thank God for Duke for pointing that out, because we almost just kept going. And that kind of delayed the speedrun here a little bit. So, you know, add 30 seconds to a minute to the speedrun. There's another little fub that we have later on. But we come back over to this location on the other side of these ammo crates. This is a pure Geneseed location, where you can just simply get another Geneseed, or the Geneseed, if you didn't get it already. You pop that on and you keep going. Hopefully. There we go. And just enjoy yourself. Enjoy this scenic route through the industrial hell that is the Imperium. Depending on what world it is, right? So we come around again to, you would just simply run through this stuff. Just keep going. Use any red barrels you can to your advantage, right, like that. Blowing it up, just kind of removing it. trying to knock out any kind of mines, roll through it. As long as your team is with you, all this stuff is not going to matter. You just need to get to that doorway, and you're going to be able to cut everything off. You got another one right there. Try and use like a grenade or something to trigger it. Clears a little bit so your buddies can get along through with you. So as long as everyone gets through this doorway, you don't deal with any other waves. That's why you just simply run through this. On the higher difficulties, it's very common to get a boss in that area. So trying to push through that is nice. But on the higher difficulties, killing that boss gets you an extra armory data. So in this room, we're going to have 4. So right now, we're going to go to bottom right, which is our armory data spawn. We're going to come right here through Reactor 4, get jumped by a Lictor because who the hell expected that, but I'm going to shoot it in the face with Plasma, and that's going to be all she wrote. We're going to come around this corner, and you're going to see these boxes, and we're going to see the Armory Data right there. So that's one of your Armory Data spawns. You can see we got lucky. It's right there. It's the only spot for it to spawn on this location. Now, next up is a Relic Spawn in what I call the top right spawn. So that was bottom right. We're going to top right now. Here we go. There is your Relic Spawn. So top and bottom.
Found a trove of relics.
And going over here, we're going to come across our top left spawn. Now this will be a Geneseed or a Relic. I put Geneseed here because I think I've seen it more Geneseed than other, but I've definitely seen a Relic spawn. And you'll see it behind these little crates, or these barrels in this DeWalt power tool chest right over here. There you go. There's your Geneseed spawn. Now again, if it's not there, it'll be further in the mission, assuming you didn't miss it before. Just keep those things in mind. I got lucky. It's right there. Now, in this place, we have to finish the generator mission. So keep the Geneseed there if it does spawn. Now, the next spot, too, is a Geneseed or Relic spawn. Again, behind a big tool chest. You'll find it right there, right next to that pallet. Well, steel pallet. Good lord. And you'll see that Guardian Relic. So coming up this flight of steps, we'll go ahead and trigger the event here for the generator, and we'll just kind of push through this. Now, in this instance, you could get lucky, and this could speed up the speed run. What's going to happen here is you've got the 4 generators, right? First off, once you trigger the event, or even before, move this, if you get lucky that one spawns, over to around this location. You have to move it by walking into the corners, and you just want to get it to the edge of that, right around that where I marked right there, because there's going to be a Tyranid drop pod. You'll see it landing in just a second, and this basically clears your whole first wave on every difficulty. On Ruthless, it might completely stagger and stun, maybe even put them into execute for the Tyranid warriors, but it's just a great way to start off so you don't have to waste a bunch of time, and you can immediately jump to the first generator. In my case, it's 4. So with these 4 generators, it is completely RNG, whether or not it is 0 generators, which I think I've only ever seen once, or all 4 generators, which I've never actually seen. I just know that it can happen. And meaning that you actually have to go and defend the generators. Another thing that can happen, though, is the cranes just gets jammed, and you have to go restart the crane by pressing a switch. So it's entirely random. Your speedrun is going to be a slower or faster speedrun based off of this area right now. But it's a lot easier to approach this area than the decapitation portion of the first major event in decapitation, because that has got a whole bunch of different levels going to it. You could have just 1 bomb you got to place, could be 4 bombs, could be all 4 on one location, could be 4 bombs on the top location. You don't know. The RNG here is far more forgiving than it is in the other one. So right now, we just finished this location. You'll hear that guy say something about like Omnissiah's code for error or whatever, like a variance for error is 0.0. That means you've completed the mission. I unfortunately forgot to go grab the Geneseed, so this slows us down a little bit. Duke picked it up for me, and we can keep going. But that, again, that probably cost me another minute. This would have been a sub 20-minute run had I not messed that up. And since we only dealt with 1 generator and didn't have a jam on the crank, it went pretty well. And jam on the crank sounds like an entirely different euphemism for something that I don't even know. In fact, I'm never going to jam my crank. No, sir. So as soon as everyone gets to that door, ignore everything that spawns back there. Just go through the door. You'll do this. It'll open this door, and we're up to our next Geneseed spawn. You'll drop down. You'll kill anything that's down here. Use those little plasma coils if you have to. Don't shoot your gun into a bunch of chains because it stops them for some weird reason. And you'll come around. You'll see another big tool chest. And here we go. This is our other Geneseed spawn. That's going to give you the capability to, again, have a pure Geneseed. That is one of the last ones. So you're coming towards the end of possible Geneseed spawn locations. Just kind of know that so that you're not like looking too hard for them if you miss it. And this next location over here, there's nothing in this room. There's potentially crates for ammo or for armor, but there's nothing of pertinent value when it comes to drops. You'll push up over these wonky ass staircases. I'm gonna fix this shit, and we'll get our next Geneseed OR Relic spawn. You'll double tap 2 overlapping warriors, and right here behind this down desk, you'll have a Geneseed OR Relic spawn. And in this same location, we'll have a second and last data slate that's going to be up here on the left. We'll kind of weave around. These are, again, just purely for lore, but there is a way to track to see if you've gotten them by pressing select or tab, depending on what console you're playing on or platform you're playing on. And then you'll drop down for the last Armoury Data. Assuming you've already done that data slate, you might be approaching this from the bottom level, and I'll kind of show that once we grab the Armoury Data. So the Armoury Data will spawn, without this wrapper bothering me, right here. And then behind me, that's where you'd come from, just to kind of show that angle so you have an idea of how to get there from, assuming you didn't have to go upstairs for the data slate. So we're going to go around and then up into an elevator, and it's going to bring us into the last little foray before we jump into the last major event of this mission. And here at this point, I could have sped all this up, but I figured showing you step by step where we're going is probably a little bit easier than me slowing it up or speeding it up and slowing it down and speeding it up and slowing it down. I don't want to get anyone lost, and me narrating where to hug or where to go, I figure helps you out in understanding how to kind of approach this from a true speedrun standpoint. Now in this location, as in the previous one, there's potential for bosses to spawn on higher difficulties. So just be aware of that. That's of course going to change the speed of the run, but getting that weapon data is really crucial. And a lot of people might say just speedrun and forget the Geneseed. No, it's so much more. It's basically 1.5 missions of experience with that Geneseed. So you want to make sure you get that Geneseed. The last weapon data is in this little silo looking thing over here. We're going to go ahead and turn right after we shoot a corpse, double tap it, just to be sure. And it'll be right before this little bench. I marked the bench, but yeah, right there. There we go. There we go. And you'll turn around, and I'm going to show you from this angle, but the last relic spawns right there. So I'll show you where to get there from here. But you can see above, which is really nice. And what's cool about if that relic spawns there is, if you've gotten weapon data, then what you can do here is, I'm sorry, not weapon data. If you've gotten the Geneseed, what you can do here is jump down into the actual final event, go and pick the relic up, leaving the Geneseed on the ground in that location. And this enables you to do this final event without worrying about losing the Geneseed. This is one of the biggest boons of running this over decapitation, because decapitation could result in you actually losing that Geneseed. So in this area, we've got 2 traps, one on the left and one on the right. So here's the right trap. Here's the left trap where Duke is, and you have a console to activate each trap on the kind of central platform. So what you want to do is make sure you activate. I like to do the left trap all the time. You're going to get things from both directions. It won't matter. You'll see them coming. And you wait to ignite this. I'm going to want to wait until a warrior starts to get about 3/4 of the way. So I've marked that warrior. It's coming, it's coming, it's coming. It just crosses those trees right there. We're activating the trap. And now we've killed the warrior and the majority of that wave on whatever side you activated. That is huge in ladder difficulties, because this can get very overwhelming very quickly. And it's crucial to the speedrun aspect of it, because you just are having to kill through less of these swarms. This is a timed portion. You could evade the entire time if you want, and the mission will complete itself. But you'll probably die. So you don't want to do that 100%, but just know that you don't have to kill every last thing. You just need to pretty much clear the majority of it. And you've got 3 points in which things can come, from that angle, from this angle, and then down here in the middle. What's nice too is that each one of those locations typically has a stack of red barrels, some plasma coils, whatever it is. Try and either place a melt-a-bomb at the bottom or use those red barrels to the best of your advantage to help clear the waves as fast as you can, especially on Ruthless, as this is the point where you will wipe, because you're going to get overwhelmed. We got the bottom spawn. Well, the top right spawn went up, well, top left, depending on which way you're looking, right? If you're facing out, it's top left. You'll see it over here as we come up the ramp. We started to get that, I'm sorry, it's top right. I'm full of crap. We started to get that spawn coming. So it's easy to get overwhelmed. And I saved that stack of red barrels just to get that right there. Big, huge clear on it really helps us out. And then we're going to get a spawn again from the front. It's just, you're overwhelmed. So you want to use these traps again so that you can really maintain a lot of cohesion. Otherwise, one of you is going to get separated from the rest. That person's going to die, and now you're 2 versus a swarm, then 1 versus a swarm, and then none versus a swarm. So this just helps you out. You've got that trap activated. It's pumping out. Then you just go ahead and ignite it. I ignited it a little late here, but still. Any ignition is better than none on this map, just to thin out as much of the warriors as you can. On the hardest difficulty, you're going to get a lot of snipers. You're going to get a ton of warriors that are going to be just slashing you down. It's really going to be rough. Even just the gaunts, termagants and hormagaunts really can overwhelm you here because of how much shooting that they can actually dish out your way. So just be careful. Try and use those traps to the best of your advantage. Try and use any of the ambient red barrels to explode things. And it really is going to lead to success. And once you've done that, you've completed the mission. So pretty much waiting through that final wave from the front direction is all you needed to do. And you're good to go. You just simply detonate the front thing and you're awesome. So hopefully this helps you out in kind of pegging down how to speed run this map. And maybe if you're struggling on this map, you got some tips here on just how to do it. And this map is truly the fastest way to do things, and pound for pound, it's because picking up that Geneseed is not only the best way to get the most experience, but it's reliable to do it here, right? Just don't forget, when you get to this stage, if you drop the relic, go back and grab that Geneseed. Duke did it once, and we did a ruthless mission and didn't get the Geneseed, even though we completed it because we left it back there. So hopefully this helps you out. If you have any questions, any recommendations on how to approach this in different ways, or other missions that you really have a good mastery of, go ahead and let it be known in the comment section below. You can see here, we'll go through this little cinematic, and this is on minimal, like I said, so it's not going to have 2,455 experience, whatever it is for completing it with the Geneseed. This is going to show us what we're going to get fully broken out experience-wise. So the Geneseed is going to give us 185 total experience. So when we take a look at this, once it actually shows it to us, it's going to give you that full out breakout. Remember, you do fail forward, so you will get experience even if you do fail. But that 185 here on minimal is not as awesome. It's really that ruthless one, right? Getting that 650, 675, whatever it is. Basically, it's like the difference between an 1800 or a 2600 experience mission. So it's quite a bit. It's enough for 2 whole levels. So you see 185 for that Geneseed and 815 in total. So hopefully this gives you a better idea, like I said, on how to progress through Inferno and level your characters. And if you have any recommendations, anything like that, go ahead and let it be known below. But as always, thank you so much for watching here today. Have a good one and take care.